The brutal truth is this: the reason you're not where you want to be, whether in relationships or in your career, has nothing to do with luck, timing, or even the people around you. It has everything to do with how you're approaching your daily interactions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to break the cycle of obsessing over outcomes and teach you how to create a presence so magnetic that people and opportunities will start coming to you, not the other way around. All right, let's keep it real. You know how when you treat someone like a celebrity, they only see you as just another fan? That's because you're putting them on a pedestal. The key to being more magnetic, more authentically you, is practicing a little detachment. And I don't mean being cold or uninterested, more like staying grounded in your own energy. That's what naturally draws people toward you. No chasing, no endless pursuit. And today, I'm going to guide you through how to cultivate that vibe. For much of my life, I was constantly fixated on the new people I met. It was like I had this mental checklist running. Could this person be my soulmate? Are they the one? And now I realize that this obsession was just a result of societal conditioning. We've all been there, right? We grew up with Hollywood and Disney feeding us this idea that finding the one is the ultimate goal, something we must chase and fight for. But what we often forget is that love isn't just an end goal. It's something we can feel universally for everyone and everything around us. When we're stuck on the idea of finding a partner, we're not really seeking love. We're seeking a dopamine hit, a rush. It's the thrill of the chase, right? But that mindset of chasing a goal in love or even in life is exhausting. And honestly, it says a lot about how we feel inside. Spoiler alert, it's usually a lack of self-love. I spent a long time searching for meaning, trying to please others, and living from a place of fear. Everything I did was rooted in this fear of not being liked, of not being enough. And if you find that everyone likes you, it might be because you're constantly prioritizing their needs over your own, trying to mold yourself into what they want. But that's just fear talking. And here's the truth: you can't make everyone happy. Trying to do so only comes from the ego, which is always seeking validation and a sense of superiority. And what happens when we're constantly chasing that? Our dopamine levels get all messed up. Here's where it gets interesting. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment, right? And when our dopamine is out of balance, we become more emotionally unstable because we keep attaching our happiness to external outcomes. There's even a part of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Fancy, I know. Responsible for empathy and social cognition. If our dopamine is off, this part of the brain struggles, and suddenly we can't connect with others as we should. Our ability to feel universal love starts to diminish. You see how it's all connected? Buddhism also reminds us to practice mindfulness and stay present. When we lose that, we get stuck on autopilot, chasing dopamine highs and neglecting to honor our inner child, the part of us that's curious and full of wonder. Instead, we become rigid, overly focused on results, and lose the joy in the process. And when we lose touch with that joy, our emotional stability takes a hit. Now, here's a little trick to help balance things out. Start engaging in tasks that might not seem significant at the moment, like small conversations with people who don't immediately captivate your interest. Think about chatting with that elderly person in line at the grocery store. These small interactions keep us present, grounded, and connected to the world around us. Buddhism teaches that every moment is an opportunity for mindfulness, right? So by doing this, we build emotional resilience, stay present, and step out of that dopamine-driven chase. On the flip side, if we only focus on what benefits us, we end up tying our satisfaction to outcomes rather than experiences. This mindset narrows our ability to connect meaningfully with others. Even how we physically look at the world changes when we're always in pursuit of the next high, whether it's waiting for that text or wondering when we'll meet the one. We get stuck in a cycle of anticipation, always reaching for something just out of reach. But here's the kicker: happiness isn't out there. It's right here, in the present moment. Buddhism always brings us back to that simple truth. We think we'll be happy when we achieve something or find someone, but in reality, the destination has always been here. All we need to do is stop and realize it. So next time you catch yourself chasing, take a breath, detach a little, come back to the present, and remember, happiness is already here. As we dive into these concepts of detachment, playfulness, and giving value, I've also included a list of 4 incredible books in the description that can really help you on this journey of personal development. These books dig deeper into the mindset shifts we're talking about here and can be a powerful resource as you work on becoming more magnetic and grounded in your own energy. So make sure to check them out. They're game changers. You're exactly where you need to be right now. Seriously, there's no need to rush. Your journey? It's uniquely yours. The idea that you're too late or missing out on something meant for you, it's just an illusion. We often have this distorted perception of time, but the truth is, you haven't missed anything. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should on your timeline, not anyone else's. Now, let's talk about chronophobia. It's that anxiety about time slipping away and feeling like you're falling behind. And let's be honest, it's deeply connected to our tendency to compare ourselves to others. We look around and think, am I doing enough? Should I be further along by now? That constant comparison, it messes with our minds, our ability to empathize, and often pushes us to chase superiority, thinking it will bring happiness. Spoiler alert, it won't. Here's what usually happens when we chase. Either the person you're after eventually wants you, and guess what? Your dopamine drops. Yep, that's right. We build up these big expectations, and when they're fulfilled, the excitement quickly fades. It's like this. Have you ever been really into someone, but once they were into you, you lost interest? Or even worse, when things didn't go as planned and you ended up feeling worse than before? That dopamine crash? Brutal. Expectations just aren't worth the emotional toll they take on us. I saw this firsthand at a party recently, which is funny because I don't usually go to parties since I'm not much into drinking. But there I was, and I couldn't help but notice how all the men were chasing the same thing, a one-night stand. They were all laser-focused on the goal, on the outcome, that they had this serious, rigid energy. You could feel it in the air. They were so fixated on the end result that they forgot to enjoy the moment, to be present. On the other hand, the guys who were just there to have fun, dancing, laughing, engaging with people without worrying about where it would lead, they had this totally different vibe. It was magnetic. They weren't chasing. They were simply being. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that you can't change other people. People meet you where they are on their journey. If someone isn't self-aware or doesn't have a good relationship with themselves, no amount of effort on your part will change that. You can't wish someone into being more interested in you or more emotionally available. It just doesn't work that way. And it's frustrating when we build romantic expectations around that. But instead of focusing on those expectations, what if we just let them go and focused on cultivating universal love? Friendship is where love grows naturally. Rushing into romance often leads to disappointment because it's built on expectations. But when you focus on building genuine connections, starting with friendship, you give love the space to grow organically. Plus, you never know. Those people you take the time to get to know might introduce you to others who are an even better match down the road. It's all part of the journey, and there's no need to rush it. This constant need to please others and always striving to come out on top is kind of like thinking life is some romantic movie where we have to fight to get our happy ending. But the reality? The first relationship we need to work on is the one we have with ourselves. Before diving into how we engage with others, we need to reflect on how we engage with ourselves. And for that, solitude is key. I'm a huge advocate for spending more time alone, getting comfortable with your own thoughts, and really observing your emotional patterns. We all have a tendency to be pessimistic at times. And yeah, it's easy to get obsessed with other people. That's just how our brain's survival circuits are wired. But when we let our emotions ride those dopamine highs and lows, we end up in this spiral of anxiety and stress. So why does this happen? Well, when our dopamine levels dip, we lose control over our thoughts, and it becomes harder to regulate the amygdala, our brain's fear and anxiety center. The same region that influences how we socialize and empathize with others is also key in helping us have meaningful conversations with people we don't necessarily want to talk to. When we're not thinking about how to win in every interaction, we're more present, more genuine. And guess what? By boosting your dopamine tone and strengthening this area of your brain, you get a better handle on that fear and anxiety. It stops the cycle of obsessive thinking about others, and you start engaging with reality in a much healthier way, treating everyone equally without all the emotional turbulence. Detaching from outcomes in relationships, that's where the magic happens. People notice when you're not tied up in all the superficial desires that so many are chasing. They might even think, wow, this person's different. They're not stuck in the usual material illusions. What they're really picking up on is the value you're bringing, not what you're trying to take. When you shift your mindset from what can I get out of this to how can I give in this situation, everything starts to change. You strengthen your empathy circuits, and focusing on what you can offer makes you more magnetic. People are drawn to those who are real and authentic. You're not chasing anymore because you're putting out something of real value, whether it's in a relationship, at work, or just day-to-day interactions. And let's be clear, it's not about getting lucky with someone you've been pining over. It's about showing up with authenticity and contributing to the moment. When you move from a mindset of romantic love to one of universal love, everything shifts. Universal love means you're offering value simply because it's in your nature. It's not transactional. It's who you are. And that's powerful. Here's the cool part. When you focus on serving others, not only does it change how people respond to you, but it has a direct impact on your body and mind. Research even shows that living with this kind of mindset reduces inflammatory cytokines in the body, which calms down your amygdala, making you less prone to fear and anxiety. MRI studies back this up. It's not just some feel-good idea, it's science. When you live in a way that prioritizes giving and serving others, your physical health improves, your mental health gets a boost, and you feel more integrated into reality. And this isn't limited to romantic relationships. It affects everything in your life. Whether it's work, friendships, or daily interactions, this approach creates win-win situations across the board. So the takeaway? Focus on serving, not chasing. That's where true value and peace lies. This approach applies equally to the people you're romantically interested in and the opportunities that show up in work or business. When you shift your focus from what can I get to what can I give, everything starts to change. It's like flipping a switch in how you see the world. Selfishness creates disconnection. It isolates you from the flow of reality, while a mindset centered on win-win situations builds empathy and opens doors for deeper connections. And here's the thing. When you stop chasing after people or outcomes and start focusing on creating genuine value, people are naturally drawn to you. It's effortless, really. One of the biggest traps we fall into is becoming too rigid and serious about life. We convince ourselves that achieving certain milestones, whether it's financial success or landing the perfect relationship, will finally bring us happiness. But what usually happens? We either get what we want and feel unfulfilled, or don't achieve it and get frustrated. That's why one of the key tools is to view every interaction as an opportunity. Not to get something, but to regulate your dopamine and balance your emotional state. Think about those moments when you're in a conversation with someone you're not particularly interested in, maybe even finding it awkward or dull. Those are the moments where the real growth happens. When no one's watching and there's no obvious benefit, that's when you practice showing up as your authentic self. It's like a workout for your character. Then, when you do engage with someone who genuinely matters to you, you'll notice that you're more detached and present because you've trained yourself to be that way. As you continue this practice, balancing your dopamine levels every time you're kind to someone in one of those nothing to gain interactions, you're actually strengthening your social cognition and empathy. You're also fortifying the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. This part of the brain governs your willpower and the desire to thrive. Over time, this makes you more present, more grounded, and less tied to outcomes. People around you will start to pick up on that energy. You'll seem calmer, more balanced, less anxious, and definitely less needy. And that aura, it's magnetic. The beauty of this is that when you're in this balanced state, you're okay with things not going the way you planned. If someone doesn't respond the way you hoped, it's not a blow to your self-worth anymore. You understand that people are on their own journeys, and you can't change them. You can't make someone be where you want them to be, no matter how much you try. This lesson, accepting that you can't please everyone or force anyone to change, is one of life's hardest, but also one of the most freeing. It's part of the broader practice of acceptance, which is rooted in empathy. When you can engage with people from a place of openness and curiosity rather than expectation, you naturally create more meaningful connections. And those connections, they increase the likelihood of meeting people who truly resonate with you on a deeper, more authentic level. It all starts with letting go of that rigid attachment to outcomes and focusing on what you can give, how you can serve, and trusting that everything else will flow from there. The second key tool, beyond using every interaction to regulate your dopamine, is bringing more playfulness into your life. This might sound simple, but neuroscience backs it up. Incorporating fun and play into your daily routine has powerful effects on your brain. Most of us are way too rigid, laser-focused on goals, or always trying to win in every situation. But here's the thing, when you inject a sense of play into your interactions, you're reminding yourself of something we tend to forget. We're all gonna die one day. It's a sobering thought, but it's also freeing. We spend hours playing video games, creating characters, leveling up, but why don't we treat our own lives with that same sense of play and experimentation? Why do we take everything so seriously? It's because we get so caught up in control and outcomes that we forget life is, at its core, a game. It's meant to be enjoyed, not dominated. When you bring a playful attitude into your life, your brain gets flooded with these wonderful chemicals called endogenous opioids. They help you see things in a more flexible and creative way. Suddenly, opportunities that you might have missed before start to stand out. Conversations flow better, you're more creative, and most importantly, you connect with others in a more genuine way. This playfulness makes you stand out, not because you're trying hard, but because it allows you to be fully present and free from rigid expectations. When you embrace this approach, you not only enrich your relationships with others, but you also strengthen the most important relationship you have, the one with yourself. It's like you're giving yourself permission to let go, to stop being so caught up in always needing to control things or come out on top. Spending time in solitude is key here. Reflect on your thoughts, sit with your emotions, and start seeing life as more of a game, not in a shallow, careless way, but in a healthy, lighthearted manner that keeps you from becoming attached to outcomes. Every social interaction becomes a chance to offer value and grow. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to learn or share something of value. When you let go of the need for everything to go your way, you create space for your own growth, for self-awareness to take root, and for you to genuinely enjoy the moment. And as you do this, something incredible happens. You naturally become more magnetic. People will be drawn to you, not because you're chasing them or trying to impress them, but because your presence is calm, centered, and authentic. It's tough at first, sure, but it's also simpler than it seems. The key is to shift your focus. Less anxiety about what might happen, more presence in what's happening right now. When you focus on your internal growth, regulating your emotions, and detaching from needing external validation, you'll start feeling more connected to reality. You'll align with who you truly are, and in that alignment, you'll radiate this undeniable energy. It's magnetic. Trust me, it's in that playful, present, and authentic state that you'll not only enjoy life more, but others will be drawn to you in ways you never expected. So, as we've covered today, shifting your focus from chasing outcomes to giving value, practicing detachment, and injecting more playfulness into your life will not only transform your relationships, but also how you connect with yourself. By regulating your dopamine and approaching life with a lighter, more playful mindset, you become naturally magnetic. People and opportunities will start gravitating toward you without effort. If you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you found this valuable, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and share this video with someone who could benefit from a little more play and presence in their life. See you in the next one.